Great. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to this fireside chat titled Know Where Your Customers Would Be Next. Thank you so much everyone for joining this panel. We have our very special guest today, Joanna Booth. She's up early morning and joining with us from Germany. So thank you so much, Joanna, for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep. I'll start the panel with a quick introduction of Joanna, and introduction would include like, okay, what do you do? How do you do it? And tell us two cool facts about yourself. So we'd love to hear that.
Okay, hi. I'm Joanna Booth. I am the head of organic growth marketing at Tourlane. We are a Series C Sequoia-backed travel tech company based in Berlin. We're the fastest growing travel tech company for expert-made dream vacations, and we specialize in creating your ultimate dream vacation with our expert travel experts to make it easy and fast and customized from start to finish, but in an online manner. So combining tech and travel, two things that I love personally. So my team, what we do is we are in charge of really generating organic growth for the company. So this really means leveraging SEO, content, and creating campaigns around topics that are both central to our product and what we would like to attract visitors for, like our main keywords and USPs, but also travel topics that people are interested in, what's trending, so that we can make sure we're staying top of mind in the media and generating backlinks this way, because SEO, both content and backlink generating, is super big to attract more organic traffic and rank highly in Google. So yeah, I have a team of about 5 people. We operate in the US, the UK, DACH region, France, and the Netherlands. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I guess 2 surprising facts. I've lived in 5 countries, and I have already been working remotely for 5 years. So I think I was ahead of the curve maybe a little bit on this remote working that everyone's now doing. So really, really am an advocate for remote working.
That's super amazing, super nice to hear from you, Joanna. And yeah, once again, welcome. I'll be quickly introducing myself. Hi everyone. I am Aditya, founder of Laari. We are a startup which defines the street food experience. We manufacture smart, portable street food carts and create smart experience for street food tourism. So that is something we do. And again, going with the same flow, 2 cool facts about me. I have never tasted tea in my life. And yeah, I can have more than 8 Red Bulls a day. So yeah, that's pretty much caffeine person out here. That's me. And thank you so much everyone for joining again. So let's start with today's discussion. So yes, Joanna, tell me, so like according to you, if there would be one country you would be willing to travel next, which it would be and why?
I think for me, probably Iceland comes to mind right now. They are currently open, which is helpful for people from Europe. So you can travel to Iceland. And I think another really appealing factor about Iceland is it's very much a natural destination. You go there to get kind of away from people, to experience the beauty of the country. And there's a lot of direct flights. So for me, when I think about kind of what makes me comfortable to travel right now, it's really not having a lot of kind of transport stops. So really like as direct a flight as I can take. It's having maybe a little bit of a less touristy destination. So somewhere where there won't be tons of crowds, and then also having the ability to really explore nature, get outside, have that open air as we're finding is very important in the world today.
True. That makes a lot of sense. So like just building upon this like insight of yours, like you are running this company Tourlane and you have had a set of very exquisite and premium users because that is something you create. So if we put in out travelers in two range, one is premium, one is budget travelers. So what do you think would be the first set of cities which premium travelers would like to travel to and budget travelers would like to travel to?
So, I can't really speak so much to budget travelers because I would say that Tourlane, while we are fairly affordable for the type of travel that we do help travelers find, traditionally we are looking more at a premium product because we really help people take these trip of a lifetime, South Africa, safari, Australia, New Zealand, 2-week self-drives. So more to kind of that set, I think, what we've done on our side is really tried to understand what are people thinking about when it comes to travel right now and how would people like to travel. So we launched a survey of our community and we pooled about 600 different people to find out, who are you looking to travel with when you travel again? When are you looking to go? And where would you go? And I think unsurprisingly, we did find that a lot of people are looking to travel to these more traditionally like natural areas. So, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, these were top destinations that people mentioned they wanted to go. I think more surprisingly, for me at least, was that people were already talking about traveling in 2020. And 25% even said as soon as possible. Yes, definitely a lot of people want to go in 2021 as well. But I think the desire to travel is still there. It's just how you think about it and what is possible. I think one thing that was really interesting was for the DACH region. So for German and Austrians and Swiss travelers, their top destination within Europe was actually Italy that they wanted to travel to. And Italy got very bad press around coronavirus. So I think that's also something that's kind of hopeful maybe for countries that have had struggle with the coronavirus. I think people who love to travel are still going to find a way to go to their favorite destinations or destinations that interest them. So then it's how do you really kind of tell the story maybe as you're coming out of coronavirus to the world, that'll be kind of the turning point for you and able to attract new customers.
Makes a lot of sense. And it's like you told that Australia, New Zealand, like the South Africa, Iceland, all the natural places, that is where tourists are willing to travel a lot. So, like, according to you, what do you think these cities are doing something differently, or what is that opportunity to learn from that to increase travel in the localities of the region? So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think travel fundamentally has changed and is going to kind of change as we emerge from this crisis. So a lot of cities that might have been considered hotspots before that had this reputation for kind of over tourism, I think like Venice and Barcelona, I think we're going to see a real shift from these kind of over touristic destinations to maybe more emerging or secondary cities. I think what you could learn if you're a city trying to attract people right now is really how do we tap into that story of, hey, destination that I want to attract to my city. We have direct flights. We have a lot of parking. You can drive here and easily, park, and you don't have to be around with people to get here. And then when you're here, we have amazing outdoor spaces. We have outdoor cafes. We have events happening outside that are done really well and with social distancing in mind. I know from speaking with we have a trust and safety expert who is an ex-NATO director, and he puts together lists of, what are kind of the criteria that we look at as a company to help our customers understand, where the kind of risk factors are. And one thing that, he looks for is, are these destinations implementing kind of minimum safety hygiene standards? So, do you have to wear a mask outside, like while you're there? I mean, I think these are things that until we have a vaccine, people will need that kind of comfort level of I'm going to be safe while traveling there.
Makes a lot of sense. Lot of sense. Okay, so to the audience, if you're willing to ask any question, we'll be open to take the questions in between as well. And post I complete my question sessions, definitely we would be open to take questions. Sorry. So I have this very personal question to you out there. So, like for you as a traveler, because you have been practicing remote working for last 5 years, and you have been traveling out there. So, what does travel mean to you, and what are three main things you would look out as a consumer when you're traveling next?
Yeah, I mean, to me, travel is such a core part of who I am, I would say. Like, and I think that's one of the things I love about working in the travel industry as well, is you end up working with a lot of people that share this passion. So for me, it's really opened up opportunities just to meet people that are different than me, that can help me expand who I am and push me to be more open to ideas that maybe I didn't grow up with. I think it's something that really everyone should do, is get outside of their box and learn about other cultures and people. And I think it's a real equalizer. So I really, for me, it's really hard when I can't travel everywhere I want to. So it's been a very interesting kind of couple of months, like having to kind of figure out like, where can I go and how can I go? So I think when I think about, three things I look for now, well, I'm really trying to stay close to home, but find options that are, exciting and still kind of expand those horizons a bit. So in Europe, it's great because you're so close to a lot of different cultures, right? Like it's 2 hours to France or 2 hours to Italy. So I am kind of sticking with this, can I drive there? Can I stay at either a small B&B or hotel or maybe vacation rental to avoid kind of bigger crowds? Can I be in nature? So beaches or hiking trails. So these are really the three criteria for me right now. Kind of what's kind of available in terms of being open air away from huge crowds, and can I get there without having to be in a crowded space?
Makes sense, makes a lot of sense. So the next part of this thing is, if I'm a travel agency, if I am a travel company, travel startup, or maybe I am a tourism board, if I am on any one of the agencies who are facilitating travel out there, so how do I currently serve customers? How do I currently engage customers? And how do I estimate that, okay, there is a in building trust in between us, and they actually continue my service further? So how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing right now is that I think people really want to travel. We see at least at Tourlane still quite an interest in becoming a customer and in traveling, but the hesitation is more around booking and really like, when should I go? And what happens if I can't go? So if you're a travel company where you're kind of booking and facilitating people's trips, I think the best thing you can do right now is really provide some sort of peace of mind when it comes to booking. So at Tourlane, we've done a free cancellation on your trip if you book it, in the next month. So we're kind of incentivizing people to book travel soon by kind of having it within the month, but also we're giving the peace of mind and saying, hey, if you need to cancel for any reason, your trip, once you book it in 2021, it's not a problem. We guarantee your money back. So, if you think about, you always will have a group of people that are willing to go as soon as the borders are opened. Like they won't be thinking, I can't get on a plane, or I can't go to a city. They'll be like, when can I go? I want to go now. But they may just be hesitating because they're like, I don't know if I'll get my money back if I book now. So the more barriers you can remove to your booking process, to your refund process, making it very transparent how that works as well, I think you'll benefit from that as a company. And I know one thing that people really have struggled with is the kind of, like with the big airlines, how do I get my money back? Who do I call? So I think smaller providers actually have a leg up as we move forward in travel, because people are looking for that guidance, for that personal touch, that assurance that, you know, they're not going to just be left out on a hold line for the next 10 hours and may or may not get their money back if something goes wrong.
True. That's very true. So, like a lot of countries out there in the world, like New Zealand, Finland, have handled the pandemic situations really well, and they have opened their borders. They are currently back to a new normal. So, will that give them an upper hand as a better tourist destination? Like, what do you think?
Well, I definitely think it helps to have good press when you're in a situation like this, for sure, because people go, "Ooh, that's a safe country." But we have to also remember that until there's a vaccine, nowhere is 100% guaranteed, right? And I think for me, one of the most interesting things that came from this survey of our customers was that even with all the bad press Italy got, it was still the number one destination people wanted to travel to for Europeans. The European segment of our survey, still the number one destination they wanted to go to was Italy if they were traveling domestically. So I think that while it's great to have this good press and be kind of like the Finlands and New Zealands of the world that have handled it really well, you shouldn't despair if your country, you know, hasn't handled it as well, because I still think people are interested. It's more about how do you make them feel comfortable when they get there, and how do you really make sure that there is this kind of safety standard in place.
Okay. So, like, why do you think this is a particular part which I am also like, it's hard for me to digest in as well, right? So it's like, why do you think Italy has like a lot of people coming out there?
I think Italy is a popular destination, and it really sparks kind of the desire to travel from so many people. And, you know, they have a huge, robust tourism industry. So, oh, hello, he's gone, but I'll keep answering the question. So I think Italy, it's a popular destination in any time, but, you know, coming out of the coronavirus, it's helped to kind of show that, like, life still goes on and there are destinations that are still open. And I think also maybe it's helped to have these images of, you know, Venice with no people, Florence with no people. If you're thinking about it from a perspective of someone who's trying to avoid crowds, you know, now is the time to go to Italy. Now is the time to be walking the canals of Venice with no tour groups around you. So I think it sort of worked in an interesting way there, where the bad press followed by kind of the look at Italy without tourism has really helped re-engage tourists with Italy in maybe a new way. And yeah, I don't know if I can see questions from the crowd. Maybe it makes sense to ask some now and we can answer, because my moderator has disappeared. I don't know where that would show up. Maybe on the side here. There it is. Okay, I see a place for questions. So if there are any questions until he comes back, feel free to ask. What impact on offbeat tourism will create on regular tourism? Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question, because I do think that tourism is changing and people are going to be definitely seeking out these more off the beaten track destinations. So I would estimate that the impact will be pretty big. I mean, like, people are going to be looking for new destinations that are fairly accessible, but maybe not the typical. So if you have a good airport connection, if you have easy transport in, I think that can really help. And then, you know, maybe the secondary cities will really get a chance to kind of leverage this to their advantage, but also secondary kind of natural areas, or, you know, what comes to mind for me are like in Europe, we have kind of these national parks, but also these more kind of regional park areas that are kind of getting a popular push right now because people are looking for something beautiful, but they can't or don't want to go to the big typical spots.
That's true. Sorry, I just
Hello.
lost my net connection. I'm back. Yeah.
We're just answering some questions here, so maybe it makes sense I can answer the next one as well.
Yes, please.
What are the difficulties that people can face in this pandemic time while traveling abroad? I think some of the biggest kind of question marks for people are really like, if I get there and the borders shut down, what do I do? Who is there to support me? I feel comfortable with my own country, with my own kind of understanding of my situation. But when I take myself out of that to an unknown, country, what's the situation and what can I expect? So again, I think this kind of speaks to if you are a travel company or a travel provider, being able to really provide that peace of mind. So before your customers go on a trip, have like a FAQ, what you should do in case of XYZ plan in place. Here's the number. We're available 24/7. We're here to help you. We are tracking this on a daily basis. Really making sure you can kind of provide that peace of mind will give you a leg up over these big kind of OTAs that are really like faceless entities that people don't feel comfortable booking with. So, make it easy for your customer segment to book a trip and then feel comfortable traveling, even in sort of an uneasy situation, is what I could say maybe there.
Makes sense. We have a few more questions. Would you like to answer them?
Oh, sure. Let's see, what else do we have here? Have I personally started traveling right now? Yes, but as I mentioned kind of earlier, domestically and with kind of conditions. So I don't yet feel really comfortable getting on planes, for instance. So I'm looking for destinations that are close to my home, that are, not super populated. But I'm also, I have to say, interested in kind of exploring these destinations that are typically like hotspots for tourists that I know just won't have a lot of tourists right now. So actually right now I'm based in Malaga, Spain. So I work out of Berlin, but I'm remote, right? So I'm living in Malaga, Spain. And it's a great place to be when you can't travel too many places because you're on like a beautiful beach. But one of the places I really want to go is the Alhambra, because I've been there when it was kind of normal tourism time. But I know that right now there'll be hardly anyone there. And it's an amazing sight to see, and not having a lot of people around is quite special. So I think this is also something that's very interesting about kind of the current time right now. If you kind of capitalize on that, if you're one of these destinations, like this is what you can experience without the crowds. It's pretty cool.
True. That's really good. So I'll just put on a one question in here, and then we can again jump back to audience question. We can again start with the discussion. So here, definitely this is what we are discussing in lines to it. Which cities or countries do you think are suffering the most due to post-pandemic situation? Like after the pandemic, who will be suffering the most? And how can travel companies, startups, or institutions can better cater to such companies? Like what should be they doing? 1, 2, 3 pointers for them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the places that are suffering the most right now are probably destinations that really strongly rely on foreign travel, coming in. Because I do think that domestic travel is having a moment right now, pretty much everywhere. But if the borders are closed and people can't get to you, I think this is something that is going to be really difficult if you really rely on people coming in from outside of your country. So, I think one thing that you could focus on if you're in that situation is really to look to countries that have reopened and what they're doing to really put customers at ease. And then you can maybe start a marketing campaign, or at least getting the word out that when we do reopen, these are the steps we're going to take. These are kind of the assurances that we provide you coming in. saying that we take it seriously. I know that some countries have implemented things like kind of clean hygiene standards where they have cleaning schedules on kind of top sites on a daily basis, multiple times a day. There are certain protocols at the airports when people land. I think that's one thing that Iceland, for instance, did really well. They kind of seeded that they were going to open pretty early to tourism, and then they really stuck with that. They did a whole marketing campaign behind coming to Iceland, having no one around, and then they made it very transparent and clear what would kind of happen when you arrived there. Like, here's what's going to happen at the airport. Here's our kind of safety standards in place as a country. So, I think these are things that are really important, because just because you've been hit hard doesn't mean people still don't want to go there. They just may not feel safe or sure to go there. So how can you kind of remove those fears? Because there's always people that want to travel.
True. So when we talk about this airport thing, we have a very question on that same lines. Like, any insights on how immigration internationally has it become difficult or stringent as compared?
I don't have really any insights into that. I'm sorry, I can't speak to that so much.
Okay. Yep. And there is a very interesting question out here that what impact would be there to offbeat places tourism? Will that create on regular tourism on that places? Like, will that increase, decrease? What do you think? What would be happening on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we might have. I think we answered this one while you were gone, actually.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah. So the thing here is, I have a different question on this. Like, when we are talking about where our customers would be next. So I'm just trying to understand, as a travel company, how do you segment customers? Like, how did you segment before pandemic? So what were your main customer segmentation, and how did you reach out to them? And what are your main customer segmentation post pandemic? And how do you reach out? Because that is a very important part of process, I think.
Yeah. So before the pandemic, we really cater to people that are looking to take a bit of a complex trip, I would say. We aren't really catering to, I'm going to a city break for 3 days. We're looking for people that are very interested in how to take these kind of bigger experiential trips. So, I mean, for instance, maybe 2 weeks in India, how do I get there? What kind of car transfers do I need? What are the sites I need to go to? What are the activities I'm going to do? What kind of travel insurance do I need? So we put the whole package together, and then we really give the customer this tailored to their desires and experiences, but a day-by-day itinerary with like everything they can expect and everything that they need set up in this package. So, before the pandemic, I would say that, our biggest kind of segments were these kind of multi-step trips in, Africa, Southeast Asia, Canada. Our kind of main customer base right now is still very European focused. So this is typically coming from Europe to these destinations. So we really could compete against kind of the booking.coms in this way, because, it's hard to plan a 3-week safari on booking.com. It's almost impossible, right? So that was kind of pre-corona. Post-corona, this has been a huge pivot for us, because obviously a lot of our destinations that we want to send our kind of core European client base to are not open to Europeans. So, and then again, like, we aren't really doing this kind of short trip staycation in Rome or Venice, these kind of top European destinations. So we really did look to countries like Iceland, which offered still that same kind of value proposition that we can provide our customers. Like, we're going to create this whole experience and this whole trip for you, but still was possible, one, for our customers to get there, and two, kind of had this plan in place for how to deal with the coronavirus. So, in Iceland, for instance, you still may want to do a multi-day road trip around the country. And, we plan the stops, and we plan your cars, and we plan, your activities. So you have this whole package still, but it's a domestic location for Europeans, because it's just a 3-hour flight. It's quite easy to get to.
That really does. And so like if you are to give advice to any other travel company, how to actually change their segmentation, what are the points to be considered, what is the process to be followed to change the segmentation now post pandemic to increase customer reach out, how do you do that?
I think you really need to kind of take a look at your product offering and see what, one, is open and possible that you can sell, and two, how you can adapt it quickly to still fit your profit margins and your business model. So for us, for instance, we debated a lot, like, oh, should we open, XYZ destinations in Europe? But for now, we aren't, because our focus and our real value as a company is not this kind of trip. So I would say, don't pivot your whole business model, but find what already is kind of working and get the word out there about that to your customer base. So we've done a lot of marketing around Iceland. We're working with influencers, going to Iceland actually in a week or so on a great trip. And, our CRM campaigns became very Iceland focused. And then at the same time, we were pushing this, book with peace of mind. If something goes wrong for any reason and you book within these dates, you can still get your money back. So I think it's a combination of, here's kind of how we're going to take care of you as a company, and here's our very transparent open policies, and then here's kind of a destination that's actually open that we can sell and make sense for us as a company.
And that's really nice. So okay, I have a quick rapid fire round, 3-question rapid fire round. It's like a lot of questions coming out from audience, just putting it into a format. So first question: top 3 places that travel companies should focus as offerings to their customers. 3 places. What do you think?
I mean, I think it really depends on your customer base and
Budget
where you're
travelers.
located.
Budget travelers.
I mean, budget travelers, I would say self-drive in your country to a national park location.
Okay. So domestic national park location. Okay. Three international top locations would be happening in 2021. What would be the 3 most traveled locations in 2021? What do you think?
Yeah, well, for our customers, people in 2021 are looking to go to Canada, New Zealand, and South Africa. So they're not even open right now, but this is where people want to go. And I think that speaks to, one, kind of like, obviously our customer base is interested in more of this experiential travel, but 2, these are 3 very known for their natural beauty destinations, right? They're get out in the open air kind of offering. So I think if you have a destination that has a very unique and beautiful kind of natural selling point, now is the time to highlight.
True. Last rapid fire question in here is, what would be the most preferred mode of travel in 2021? Rail, road, or air?
Yeah, I mean, I think until there's a vaccine, people probably are going to be wanting to self-drive as much as possible. And then from there, I think it really comes down to what we talked about earlier. How easy is it in terms of stops, and how easy is it to avoid crowds? So people, I think, will be willing to do kind of direct flights or maybe direct train trips. But a lot of stops, a lot of hours, I don't think it's going to be something people are looking for.
True. So there is a question from Gurnam out there. Asking that, will there be a change in the preferred mode of transport in new normal, especially between Euro-rail and air travel, given that Europe has a great railway network?
Yeah, I think it really speaks to what we just kind of mentioned, like how easy is it for you to get there in terms of time and then stops. So, I think rail in Europe is a really good option, because often it's, 2-hour train, no stops. But sometimes flights are about the same, and you can go further. So I think it really depends on where your customer base is coming from. And if you are a destination that typically gets a lot of, foreign travel in that takes multiple stops, then maybe you need to start thinking about how to attract domestic travelers. because I don't know if people are going to be willing to take 2 or 3 stops now in today's kind of environment.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, like, if someone is traveling domestic, okay, what would be your 3 main advices to them?
So if you're traveling domestically, I think definitely the first thing I would say is still, if you're planning a trip, work with a travel provider that you really feel can take care of you and answer questions and be kind of responsible for communicating the latest to you. So, working with someone that you can call and actually speak to a person and say, hey, what's the status of this hotel I'm staying at? Like, do they have this protocol in place or that protocol? If they don't, I'd like to change it. Being able to cancel your trip last minute if things change and get your money back. I think for me personally as a traveler, this puts me at ease and is what I would look for if I'm even traveling domestically.
Cool.
I think also then personally self-drive. So can I get there easily by car? And then, what kind of outdoor options are there for me when I'm there? So whether it's outdoor cafes or beautiful walks within the city or beaches or nature, I think cities can still offer something interesting to people, but they need to talk a lot about kind of these outdoor offerings that they have as well.
True. Makes a lot of sense. So I'll be moving out like for my last question from my end. So it's like we already had a lot of word around it. I'll just try to summarize it up once because we already had a lot of talk. Like top pointer for me as a travel company to understand customer. So it all burns down to convenience, ease. That if it's ease for a customer with safety tinge of it, it's something it's gonna go well. So maybe domestic travels would be there on the first note. But what do you think in the long term? Would international travel or domestic travel would prevail?
That's a really good question. I think that domestic travel is really having a moment right now. And I think that this is a time that if you have beautiful sites in your country and amazing city destinations in your country, and you have a traveler set that wants to go places, now is the time to really reach out to them, because this travel set may usually be going outside because they think, hey, I want to go somewhere really exciting. In my own country, it's just like, yeah, I've done that. But have you really done that? I could probably say right now that there are so many places that I've never explored in the country I live that are comparable, if not more beautiful than the places I might travel to normally thinking that they were better. So I do think that domestic travel has such an opportunity right now to really capture people that normally wouldn't stay. And then they should, if they do it right, this could continue. This could like really continue after the pandemic. So now travelers feel like they have more of an option. But I do think international travel will come back. Will it come back in the same way? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that these kind of budget flights are going to exist as much as they used to. So I think people are going to be very picky about where they choose to go. But that doesn't mean that kind of emerging destinations will fall back. I think if anything, emerging destinations could really become the next thing that people want because they're trying to avoid these over touristic areas.
True. So, I'll just so we have this really cool feature in the platform we are using. So we can actually call someone up the stage to ask you a question directly with the video.
Cool. What a cool feature.
There are two things out there to all the audience watching in here. I would like you guys to put in live chat. What is one travel destination you would like to visit this year in 2020? What is on top of your bucket list? Would like to see everyone's bucket list. While if anyone has any questions, if anyone just has any insights or want to talk, they can raise their hand. We'll be happy to bring them on the stage. And meanwhile, everyone writes things up. Joanna, what are the 3 topmost countries you have visited as a customer till now? Like, which has given you the best experience till now?
Sorry, can you say that one more time? I was just looking at the questions.
So yeah, it's like yeah. Just a second. Yeah. So, audience, like one of your bucket list, you can put it in live chat. You can write it up here, and you can raise your hand if you want any to ask any questions out there to John as well. Just a second. Yeah, we are here. So yes, what the question I asked to you was a very simple that what are the top three places which you have visited in your lifetime as a customer?
Hmm. Ooh. So many. I think probably Istanbul and Turkey would be like my number one, just because there's so much going on. Like it's an amazing destination, and I only went to two places there, Istanbul and Cappadocia. But the history. There's so many different religions and cultures converging into one place. That was a super amazing destination for me. Also, kind of on that same level is Egypt. That was like unbelievable. If you like history, if you like these insane wonders of the world kind of places. And then number three, ooh, so difficult. Let me think about this. For me, number three, it's really hard to beat like the Amalfi Coast of Italy. I mean, you've got the beach, you've got the food. It's dramatic, kind of mountains into the ocean. That's a good kind of standard if you're looking for just like a great Mediterranean holiday.
Definitely. So we have suggestions from audience in here. They're one country to visit this year. Some are having Switzerland. A lot of people are always already scared to step on a jet plane. So like, okay, this is gonna be India this year. So yes. So like I would ask a very simple, just want a one word answer in here. Uh, Tell me in one word, what would be that one change you would be having when you step out back as a customer to travel?
Face mask.
And anything else in that?
I do think kind of off the beaten track. So personally, for me, when I think about kind of destinations that I tend to travel to in the summers or I'm looking to go to, I do think that even internationally, rather than always going to that number one destination within that country, I would love to kind of now take the time to really dig a little deeper. Because I think also, isn't that what tourism is about? Like, we've all gotten into this kind of zone of like, I love traveling because I get to see things that are new and different and exciting. But then we go to these cities that are exactly the same as the cities we live in, just in a different language. So, when you find these kind of off the beaten track, like towns that maybe aren't as talked about or areas that aren't as known, that's when you really get excited about travel again anyway, right? So I think that's something that I'm also going to really, really work towards for myself when I'm thinking about travel.
True. Makes a lot of sense. And yes, what would be in like one word, what would be that one challenge you would be facing as a customer when you travel again?
Customer service, I guess, probably. Like, if I'm traveling in the future and there isn't yet kind of a vaccine for coronavirus, I'm not traveling on a big kind of like a complex trip without a really strong travel partner. So, I don't want to just go to generic OTA and book my flights and accommodation and transfers. I want to know that the company I'm booking with has actually a stake in the game and cares about whether I know the latest information or what I'm doing on the ground there, knows I'm there. I think this is something that's going to be important for a lot of people, not just me.
That's very true, very true. So, audience, again, if anyone would like, so there is an option you can see on your screen. There is something called as raise hand. So you can just raise hand, and we would be very happy to bring you on stage to have an interaction. So yeah, if anyone has, would really love to do that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Till then, so when so this is a very simple question out there. Pre-pandemic, when I say word travel, what is first thing that comes to your mind?
World travel?
Yeah, when
Pre-pandemic?
I say the word travel,
Oh,
yes.
travel.
So when I say the word travel, what does the first thing comes to your mind?
Experiences. Food,
And how about
culture,
post-pandemic?
people, everything, like this is travel.
And how about post-pandemic? How it has changed post-pandemic?
I think uncertainty, and that's, I think, what a lot of people maybe feel about travel right now. So how can we eliminate that fear? I mean, we won't be able to completely eliminate it, but how can we make it more comfortable for our customers and for people that are thinking about becoming customers? How do we take away that uncertainty around travel for them?
Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, so like when I just look back into session, I'm just looking back into the way like how it is become transforming. So like the underlying reason of how do you know where your customer next would be is all about making sure that that certainty, that trust issue doesn't basically have it out there when you go out. So as a travel company, you got to focus on which regions you pick, how do you pick, and mainly working towards the way that, okay, these are the customers, and yeah, that is how I'm gonna serve them. Like customer service is the best, right? And with that, the same thing, like how Tourlane is currently overcoming this issue of uncertainty, because that is where we see everywhere. Like, how do we overcome the issues of uncertainty?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, ask your customers, ask them what they need, ask them where they want to go, ask them when they're thinking about traveling next, ask them how they want to travel. Engage with your customers. They're your best source of information, and they'll also be a really good North Star for people that might become prospective customers. So, there are tons of free survey tools out there. You can easily leverage them, ask fun, easy questions, and then get the data back and kind of digest that and see what people are interested in, see how you can see what questions they have, what concerns they're still facing. And then, find a way to address that, whether it's creating kind of special landing pages for specific Corona FAQs or doing a webinar like this. Like we're going to go through your questions and we're going to answer, and maybe even putting together some sort of itineraries for Corona that might be good options for people. So I think really leveraging your community and asking them, what they want, what they're interested in, and then figuring out within those answers and your product offering, how can you align with your customers, and how can you take that uncertainty away through your own booking policies, refund policies, cancellation policies, but also, what's kind of your special, unique selling point when it comes to engaging with your customers? Like, how can you guarantee them more of a peace of mind? Whether it's, hey, we know that everything is changing. We know that day to day things could be different, but you can always call us. We're here to talk to you about your trip. What's happening in the country that you're going to, up to the day, and even when you're there. So,
Perfect.
really taking that uncertainty and helping them kind of work through it as well.
Great. So I hope like that brings me to end of my questions. A lot of audience questions. I will just check if we have one. So like, okay, so this is one really good question. Let's take it as last question and then move forward. So in India, we have many good places, offbeat places, sightseeing, but they are far from the city and less in infrastructure. How do you promote such things?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a hard question. If it's hard to get there, right? And people, normally might fly there, but they're unwilling to fly. How do you promote that? I think you have to also think about the customers that might be the most willing to go and the most able to get there. So if it's an offbeat location that doesn't have traditionally easy infrastructure, this probably won't be a destination that you can promote to budget travelers unless they are kind of backpackers and willing to get there. But maybe you need to look to your more kind of upper end segments that are willing to invest more in getting there, whether it's, maybe they do take a connection flight, or maybe they do, drive there, or, they feel comfortable kind of taking a train and being in first class, something like this. I think you have to really look at the segment of who you can attract, because budget travelers could be a really good option because they might be the most willing to go there in kind of, still non-socially distant ways. But I think it's really about understanding who could come, what your offering for that person could be, and then how to best promote it to that segment. So, you won't promote the same way to a budget traveler that you would to a luxury traveler. But I think if you can make it as straightforward as possible, so maybe you already have itineraries created from the top destination cities you think people are coming from. So this is exactly how you get from point A to point B. This is the time, this is the amount of interaction with other people you can expect. And it's, again, taking that uncertainty away. So I think more than anything, travelers are still going to go. Some people will go no matter what, but the ones that are on the fence, they need to know kind of what to expect and how to kind of plan in their minds for this scenario, because the uncertainty is what's keeping us all kind of back right now.
True. Makes a lot of sense in there. And thank you so much for asking the question. So yeah, that's pretty much about the session. I hope you have enjoyed it. At the end, I just want you to give your 2 bits to travelers as a customer rather than as a company. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I will never stop traveling. I love travel. But again, it also really comes down to that kind of uncertainty for me as well. I'm less willing to invest a lot of money in travel if I don't trust the provider that I'm going with, if I don't trust that they have an open and transparent policy around refunds, or how I can rebook. And I think actually, there are a lot of companies doing this really well right now and really putting it out there that they are there for the customer, and these are the policies. So I'm gravitating towards these kind of companies right now, and I think a lot of travelers are looking for that. So for me, it's peace of mind, but then it's also how do I kind of travel within the country I'm in to start, and then maybe as we move forward and more borders open, it's what are the policies in place at the airports of the destination countries. Once I'm there, kind of what are the safety and standards around kind of being a person in this place. So yeah.
That's pretty amazing out there. And yeah, that's end of the session. I just if someone from the audience would like to reach out to you, they can find you at the social lounge at the speakers table, definitely one. And if someone wants to reach out to you on LinkedIn or Instagram, on the company, if they want to follow what Tourlane does, so you can put out in live chat your handles if they want to reach out to you.
Great. Yeah. Let me do that right now, I guess.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for all your questions. Really great.
Thank you so much for joining in. And so 12:45 p.m. Indian Standard Time to 1:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, that is 45 minutes from now, we have a break, and we have created organizers table, speakers table, and partners table. So you can basically go in any of the tables, you would like to know what this company does. You can just go on the table as you go in the actual conference. You can just go on the table. People will be there. You can interact with them, have amazing networking out there. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. So once again, thank you everyone for joining in. And yeah, you can just come up, follow every one of us, and that is pretty much. Thank you so much for giving your time. Thank you so much, Joanna, for
Yes,
being.
thank you. It's super great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.